All right, Donald, you ready to show them this truck?
Well, I'm nervous because this is the big moment for me, and I hope people will like it. So
Yeah, I hope my camera's not shaking right now because I'm like, oh
you're
god.
about to run out of your battery's almost out too. So,
Oh yeah. Oh, is it? No, no, we're good.
okay, here
All
we
right,
go.
you ready?
Yep. Latch one,
Let's do it next week.
two, yeah, three. Okay, here we goes. The big reveal.
Oh man, what's up, dude?
Well, I'm excited for this episode.
Yeah,
It's the big reveal. So
I've been grinding my teeth for the past 5 episodes, just wanting to say something, and we finally revealed what's in the mystery box.
yeah, well, this moment in my life is one of the most important times for me in recent times because since I stopped doing GrindKing years ago, I always had this sort of bittersweet. I almost didn't want to think about GrindKing. That's why I started doing parties and stuff because I was kind of bummed out that I lost everything. So this moment is sort of, I think I can earn my way back into the industry with this truck. And this is by far the most exciting truck I've ever designed.
Kind of pushed GrindKing off to the side for a little bit, didn't you? Didn't want to.
Yeah, I didn't want to think about it. I was kind of over skateboarding and just I was sort of a bad memory because I had done so well. And then when I lost everything, it was just like, oh man, that sucks. And what really sucked for me was that I had other ideas I wanted to do, but I couldn't do them because I didn't, you need working capital, you need funds to do, especially trucks. There's a lot of costs going into making molds and stuff. So I was sort of, always trying to get my mind off of not thinking about it. It was sort of just the past. I just kind of buried it.
What kind of sparked your passion again? Like, do you remember was there a moment?
Well, it's funny because, I was just perusing around the internet and I saw the video Rad Rat. Props to Rad Rat. he kind of got my mind thinking about it again. Like maybe there's people still think about GrindKing or know about it. Maybe there's a chance, but with the disruptor, that wasn't the right move. I had talked about before. It was too generic. I mean, to me, all these trucks out there. I mean, not trying to diss on all the trucks, but they're very similar. There haven't been radical innovations in skateboarding that can actually take a skater to a higher level of performance. Mm-hmm. When you look at things like BMX bikes and stuff, I was watching some of these guys doing the Red Bull challenge where they jump off. It's like in Utah or something, and they're going off cliffs. I mean, these are like straight up cliffs.
Yeah,
and they're doing back flips and front flips. And if you went back to the 80s, which kind of how trucks are, they're still kind of 80s design to me. And you try to do a backflip and do these giant cliff drops on bikes back, it would probably break the bicycle and you'd break your body.
It's life or death.
Yeah. But these bikes are so advanced now that they can do this stuff and they land the same with the motorcycles. You can do these airs that are just like Superman style, and because the technology is advanced, they're able to do that on a regular basis.
You would think with something that's a dangerous sport, you'd see more innovation. Like in something like football, obviously the protection's gone better. MMA, boxing.
Yeah, but look at skateboarding, how it's evolved since the 80s, right? I mean, the tricks have gotten bigger. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of, one of the problems I had with GrindKing, when I think about it, and with other trucks too, it's a common problem is that kingpin, that's kind of got my start, and the kingpin is the same size it's always been, and that came from roller skates. Roller skates don't do the impact that you have with skate. They're not doing the big airs and stuff as much on roller skates, so you don't really need a reinforced kingpin or whatever.
There's not much impact when you're landing. You don't have a board across two structures. You need a lot more on a skateboard.
And what makes matters worse with the inverted kingpin is that because it's upside down, because it's not just a fixed kingpin in there where the threads are on the top, the threads are on the bottom. Mm-hmm. And you have a little bit of movement, a little wobble, because you have to have it so it's can spin inside the base plate.
Yeah.
And when the kingpin exits the base plate, there's a weak spot right where the threads end. And that's where they always break. So, you know, GrindKing and other truck companies, they usually break the kingpin right at that point where the kingpin exits the base plate, you know, right at that spot right there where it comes out. So that's always been something in my mind, like, God, I got to figure that out. And then also, so this idea of taking skateboarding to the next level, in my opinion, part of that process will be to upgrade your equipment to be able to do that. You know, there's always a room for improvement in anything, whether it's the skate deck, the skate truck, the wheels. I mean, innovation is what really pushes a sport forward.
And then it helps take the person who's actually doing the sport to the next level with their ability. But
Yeah.
you need that help. It's like you can't play tennis without a tennis racket.
Yeah.
You can't skate without a skateboard or the trucks or
Yeah.
the wheels. All those things have a place.
And it's sometimes just a little subtle thing can make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's kind of where my focus is on going forward now, and why I'm back in the business is to really come up with innovations that will be able to increase the level of skate performance.
And that's really kind of the motto of GrindKing now as we move into the future, is we want to innovate and we want to listen to you guys on how we should innovate.
And that is true. That the difference is with Kick Flipper and this idea of Team GrindKing, it's really a collaborated effort with the team out there and whoever wants to be part of it, because with all these people giving suggestions and feedback, that's how the stuff is going to really improve.
Let's make our skating better.
Yep.
Yeah. With the hardware, with us.
With that, yeah. And, you know, and also, you know, hopefully even with other stuff we bring in, because we want to keep producing things like backpacks and clothing. That's down the road, but we got to get started. We got to start somewhere. So I'm hoping this gets
start.
I hope this is the spark that gets us moving again.
Yeah. So let's go down the timeline.
Yeah.
You've made it to the GK7,
Okay, so yeah,
right?
we went to the GK7 in the last episode. And so I'm going to finish off as fast as I can, because I know everybody wants to see what's the new truck.
I do. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've been, I just wanted to say something.
Hopefully we'll have time, and might have to push the new truck to the next episode.
Oh, come on.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right, let's do it.
So let's do it. So
yeah.
Anyway, after the GK6 came, GK7, this is where I had this idea and to bring graphics onto trucks. Okay, so up until the GK6 and the 7 were cool because it had the kind of the holes, you might say, kind of gave GrindKing its unique look, was these holes. You know, that was sort of, to me, made it different. But because I had this graphic idea of being able to put graphics on trucks. I was the first truck company to put graphics on trucks. And I had a proprietary way of doing it. Nobody knew my secret. And there will be a story I taught. We'll save that for another episode of the pros and cons.
Talking about the dipping of the graphics, right?
Yeah. We'll talk about that. That's a whole other chapter. But long story short, in this episode, if you notice, I lost the holes because with this process, it was easier to do it without having to worry about holes. So I designed a truck that was kind of, to me, it wasn't as exciting. It didn't have the cool holes.
The graphics made up for it pretty much instead of having all that.
But I had two sizes. Somebody asked about geometry, and the answer is yes. GrindKing had a couple different geometries. This one was a low, and this was called a mid.
Yeah,
and
I remember the mid and the low.
It would be more like, let's say, an Indy, and the low would be more like a Venture. So there was two geometries I had going at the time.
We're moving into my truck era now. When I started coming by the warehouse, and there's all the graphics.
Probably, yeah. So that was like this area of the GK. It would be the GK8, but I called them the mid and the low. I didn't continue with the number series.
Yeah.
I decided to call them a name instead.
You didn't want to be like Apple, where it's like, what are we on, the 16?
Yeah. So technically, these would have been the GK8 and maybe
mid and the low.
And then right before I I got out of the business, the last truck I did was this one. The I guess it would be the GK9. I don't think I even had a name for it, but it was very generic to me. It was kind of, and to be honest, it's very similar.
Looks really
to
similar
the
to
disruptor. It's almost the same thing, but I changed the kingpin design a little lower, and I think I did a
bushing
couple,
sits in there a little bit
bushing
different.
It was slightly improved. This was improved, but you could tell it was very, very similar. Where the GK last one, I would guess the 9, and the disruptor would be the 10 in a sense if it was numbered. But I decided, like a car company, to start naming them things. Like this was the disruptor, and going forward, I have the new truck has a new name too, which I'm excited to tell you about.
It's almost like a chrome finish on this.
Yeah, it was just like
wrapped.
A candy apple.
Yeah.
So so another part, to finish this segment of the past trucks, the pinnacle of my design at the time, the one I was most excited about in terms of a designer. Again, I look at these designs when I'm designing trucks. I'm kind of thinking like I'm almost like a car designer, and I've had always designed these trucks to be what I consider kind of sexy looking because of the curves, and on the one I got the most excited about in terms of curves and holes is
we all know you just love sexy trucks, Donald. You got a thing for them.
Women and cars.
Yeah.
I mean,
and skate trucks.
You can
apparently.
never gets tired. I never get tired of looking at women and cars.
Well, now I'm looking at skate trucks a little bit differently than I ever have before.
Yeah, these are the GrindKing is the sexiest truck, okay?
You heard it here.
Yeah,
GrindKing is the sexiest truck.
And wait do you see this what you're going to see today is straight up truck porn.
If you like curves.
Yeah. It's the sexiest truck I've ever done.
Baby got back.
Yeah. So anyway, going back to these ones. So I had this was my most engineered truck right here. It was called the Axle. And it was, the reason why I called it the Axle is because it had this V-beam, I call it the V-beam. It kind of has a V. And the reason why I designed this axle was because it has several reasons. One is that when you take a straight axle that's just a round bar, like here's your normal axle.
Yeah.
This is titanium, so it's not that normal, but that's how they kind of look in steel.
You know what's really cool about this, though? I don't know if people can see this. I'll put it up on the screen if you can't, but you can actually see the V-beam through the trucks.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Which is a pretty sweet design choice, I would say.
Yeah. So that axle, you can kind of see it in there, right?
Yeah, I'll put it up on the screen.
So you can kind of see it in there. And in this axle truck, again, going back to cars, like I like Ferraris and Lamborghinis as far as the lines go, of course. I mean, everybody likes to see those supercars.
Yeah. Hey, Donald, put that mic up a little bit more to your mouth because I'm not hearing your audio.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So like a supercar, if you look at, there's kind of like hints of it with the air scoops or whatever.
Yeah.
In a car, the air scoops here is just for weight
That's
moving.
Visual design?
And
Does that actually do anything?
Visual, no, it was to reduce weight.
Yeah.
Reduce weight, take weight out.
The holiest of trucks.
Yeah, it was the holiest. It was the holiest. Well, the holiest of trucks was actually the Thunderbird. I made a very Art Deco. This is another one that was I really enjoyed designing, was the Thunderbird, because I really got into the
into the holes again.
Into holes.
Yeah.
I have something with holes.
Some holes and curves.
Yeah, holes and curves, man.
Oh, man.
But anyway,
that's like what a skate truck would look like if it was in the 1920s, though. That Art Deco.
Well, I had
sweet.
the Art Deco there, and then I had the holes just to, it was just, and it actually there's some function to it too, because if you see where these sort of braces go, you might call them or whatever, they go way out to the end. A lot of trucks, they just kind of come back here and they beef up the head.
They pick up out in the outside.
Where this goes way out to here, so you've got this extra like truss type support, and then there's 4 holes instead of 2 because it's so wide. This is actually the widest one I made, which is I think I forgot which one. This is the 10-inch Thunderbird. So there were some comments about bringing this back as well. So, maybe the Thunderbird will, if Team GrindKing wants to see this come back, if I bring it back, it'll be a new version though.
For sure.
So that it's going to be there'll be hints of this in the new version if I bring it back, but it's going to be, instead of a I think this was 90s, late 90s or something.
Well, like, listen, all these people there like keep asking, oh, I want this back, but what we just said, it's like we want to innovate. So we're not gonna. We might bring back reissues one day if people want those old ones, but at the end of the day, it's like we can do better.
Well, I used to always upgrade the trucks like almost every year or two.
Yeah,
at least every 2 years, and I've taken off since I stopped in. I had about a 10 to 12 year hiatus of not doing trucks. So I have to make up for that.
Yeah.
So this new truck you're going to see has I made up for the time. It's not just one little thing. It was like if I had all those years to design a new truck, I put it all into this truck.
Seven innovations.
Yeah. There's 7 innovations. So it's the epitome of my truck designing. It's the one my greatest work, I'd say.
I want to take them out right now.
And then so we'll finish this so we can get into that. And then there was the Jay Adams. Some people want me to bring Jay Adams back. Rest in peace. He's gone, but he's still a legend. And this one was in Venice
got
tradition. It's got
blue
the blue bandana graphic. And that one was...
You got in trouble a couple times for some of these, right? Because you had the Budweiser.
Oh, yeah. We'll go into that.
We'll
That's a story. There's a whole story of the graphics.
Yeah. I don't want to go down on a rant. We know you want to see the new trucks.
Yeah. And then there'll be another episode about exotic materials. So I had, a titanium axle, titanium kingpin truck, the titanium. And then also there was this whole episode of like magnesium. I was working with magnesium, which is a lot of trucks out there say they're magnesium, but I don't know if they're really 100% magnesium, because this is what magnesium looks like. This is not painted. This is raw magnesium. It's this color.
Well, they're probably mixing it with aluminum.
There may be a mixing. Right? Yeah, you can mix magnesium and aluminum, and then you can get the lighter color. But I like the pure magnesium.
It looks cool.
And it's insanely the best material to grind with. It's so soft.
Yeah.
And it's super light, it's super strong, and super expensive. So, but that's another episode. But
might be hinting at something
exotic
there too.
Materials. Yeah. Again, when you design, the way I'm looking at the trucks now is like I want to be sort of the super. How like a Ferrari, Lamborghini, all that stuff they're called supercars, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I want to be the truck company that makes a super truck.
There you go.
And this next truck you're going to see is a super truck.
It really is.
It's the beginning of the super trucks. So
then when you got to the disruptors, this was it. You kind of went back to the generic form on this. Yeah. And then, but it definitely was an upgrade.
It didn't disrupt.
It didn't disrupt.
It didn't live up to its name. No. This next truck should have been maybe the disruptor.
Maybe we should have called it.
Yeah, maybe not. But I like the new name better.
Yeah, new name's awesome.
We'll see what the Team GrindKing thinks. But, But it has a new name. And I forgot about this guy here. Creeper was another one of those ones that came out during this later. Well, I think it was. I can't remember if this is early 2000s or late 90s. But a lot of people want to see Creeper come back.
Oh, you know what I got in my backpack?
Do you have that video? Oh, yeah.
I haven't even opened this.
Yeah, well,
I don't think I'm going to open it.
Yeah, the Creeper show, I don't know.
Oh, man. This is what it says in the back.
You have to show a close-up of the
cover.
Yeah,
I'll show a close-up of the shot.
I like the cover. It says, the skateboarding goes to hell.
Those who know, if you dislike skateboarding, women, and beer, don't watch this flick because you're going to hate it. Yeah. Skateboarding goes to hell. But we're going to be doing a special Creeper Show episode.
That's the next episode. Next episode is Creeper Show. It's going to be a special Halloween episode.
And if you know, Ryan Tate directed this, and we're hopefully going to have him
Ryan
on.
Tate was the team manager for Creeper, and he said he would maybe do a impromptu show up on the podcast.
And if you've watched the Creeper Show, Ryan Tate probably has some crazy stories.
Yeah, Ryan Tate. He was the. I would have to say he was very he got the idea of Creeper really well, because Creeper, I used to say, call it the anti-truck, and so he wanted to do this video, and he wanted to do it his way, and when I started seeing what he was doing, he's talking about like, we got to do it. No, you can't put any rules on me. I got to do it my way. I'm like, well, and he took it to the extreme. I mean, it should be rated R, I think.
X
or X. Well, it has some porn stars in there.
Flesh-eating demon vixens.
He got porn stars to do there's a secret. You have to find how to get to it in the video, but there's a section that they do some things that are bad things, and then there's
earmuffs.
Then there's beer drinking. There's abuse to the elders. I mean, it's just horrible.
You couldn't release this video today.
I have to say that I think I don't think I'd ever do it that crazy.
Yeah,
because it's not for kids. It's definitely
don't worry. We're not going to abuse the elderly on this next episode. Yeah. Maybe a little bit of drunken debauchery, flesh-eating demon vixens.
Yeah,
can't do that.
It's
YouTube
bad.
will take us down.
It's bad, but
it's bad, but
in a good way for skateboarding.
It's so good.
You'll never see a skateboarding video that's this bad.
Yeah,
not in terms of skating, but in terms of what's that? Politically correct.
It's definitely not politically correct. Yeah, but come on, skateboarding doesn't care about being politically correct.
Well,
maybe it does.
I would say
sometimes.
It should be banned, but we'll see what we can do about some showing parts of it.
Yeah. So Creeper. All right. What's next?
Okay.
Down the
so
truck
then
line.
now we had back to the truck line.
Yeah.
So this new truck. I'm gonna start talking about the new truck because I think we covered everything all the way to Disruptor, so we're all the way caught up on that. And so this new truck is, like I say, imagine a super truck. That's what it's going to be. So we're going to go, and I guess it's time for the mystery box.
Yeah. We'll cut here and let's go, guys. And since I'm getting used to YouTube, hit the like or subscribe button.
That's right.
Please. Forgot that at the beginning.
Yeah. We want to keep
follow us.
So I just want to show, before we show the new truck, kind of my very first attempt at making a truck, which hasn't been shown yet, which are these very crude. I wanted to do my first truck I wanted to make before I came up with the GK1 was I wanted it to have the kingpin on the other side, sort of how longboard trucks are. I was trying to perfect the idea of, like, look at this grind, a perfectly smooth surface, and you can see this is just made out of clay and the stuff that you can it hardens, prototype 1. So this was my very first truck that I attempted, and I actually made these metal. This was the second one. You can see it got a little bit better. It's still clay. This is as hardened. This special kind of clay. You can mold it and then heat it, and it hardens. But this was just this was in 1996, 390. That's when I made the second prototype. So this was pre GrindKing trucks. It was just I had the kingpin back then, and then I had to make actual working models to test, and I started trying all these different. These are out of solid aluminum. And I was trying to come up with this solution to this reverse kingpin, not just inverted, but reverse side. Normally kingpins are on this side. And I kept trying and it just didn't turn right. Because I was, again, I was an indie rider, so I liked the way indies turn. And I couldn't get the indie turns. I was going nuts doing all these different things. You can see this one even has different hole pattern. There's 8 holes in this one, and this one has just these different geometries. And I even made some ones that I could try skating, and none of them horrible looking, but I was just trying to get the turn right. Couldn't do it. So I have to confess, at the end of the day, because I wanted to make this truck, I just took an indie and I copied the geometry. They copied my kingpin, so it's where it's fair.
It's all fair game there.
So I did copy the indie geometry. So that's, if people want to know how GrindKing's the main trucks are, they turn like indies. Now the exception was the low, which turned more like a venture. So I wanted to play it safe because skaters get familiar with a certain feel, and even though you might improve the turning or geometry, if a skater's used to how indie turns, like I was used to how indie rode, for me it was indie, so I wanted something that I could feel comfortable on. That's why I took their geometry and built a different truck around it, but used their geometry to play it safe and get a really good turning truck. So that's where this was the beginning. Now comes the big reveal.
All right, Donald, you ready to show them this truck?
Well, I'm nervous because this is the big moment for me, and I hope people will like it. So
yeah, I hope my camera's not shaking right now because I'm like, oh God.
You're about to run out of your battery's almost out too. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, is it? No, we're good.
Okay, here
All right,
go.
you ready?
Yep. Latch 1.
Let's do it next week.
2. Yeah. Okay, here we go. The big reveal. So this truck is called the GrindKing Locker, and it has 7 innovations that have never been done before. So I'm going to go through each of those. Number 1 is, you can see it has these grooves. Now these grooves, I came up with the idea because I was looking at skaters and talking to skaters and watching videos, and they always talk about the grooves. They always say how their worn-in trucks feel better because they can lock in on these grooves, and that's why I call it the locker, because you lock in on these grooves, and they're perfect grooves. They're not just kind of like some grooves, you know, they're variations, but this is like the perfect shape to lock in when you're grinding. And there's the way I accomplish that, because usually when trucks have these grooves, they're worn out to the axles, so they're at the end of their life. So when the truck's at its best performance and feel, it's almost time to get a new truck. So this truck actually begins where other trucks leave off. It starts with the perfect grooves. And the way I accomplish that is, if you look at the original axle that I had from the past, this was called the V-beam, but it had the groove in the middle. And this truck, I modified the idea to call it the U-beam axle. If you look at the U-beam, it bends down right where these grooves go. So that's how I accomplished this, to where there's plenty of material before you hit the axle still, even though they've been down to where you would be hitting the axle. This, you have still a lot of room before you hit the axles because of the U-beam axle design. And this axle, there's a lot of engineering in this, and four reasons why it's better than a straight rod axle. Number 1 is that a rod is not as strong as a beam. Here's the best way to describe what I'm talking about, is that when you crush it down to flat, it gets so much stronger that you can actually put holes in it. So this axle is stronger, it's lighter, it's impossible to slip in the casted. There's no way this could ever slip, and it allows for this design. And here's a good way to imagine it. Look how thin this ruler is, how thin this material is. It's so easy to bend, right? But once you turn it this way, there's no way it can bend. It's really sturdy. And that's just the theory behind this. I flattened it here, so it's really stronger, so much stronger that I can put holes in it like that, and it's still stronger. And it's lighter, and like I say, impossible to slip. So that's the innovation too. So now you got there's 7. So this is the shape of the hanger with the grooves. That's 1. This is 2, and here comes this other very unique feature that is that it has an adjustable wheelbase, but you can be adjusted forward, or you can increase or decrease your wheelbase. There's 9 different positions that this allows you on your skateboard to adjust to. You can move it both forward, 1 forward and keep the other one back, 1 back, or you can move them to both in to have a really reduced your wheelbase so that it turns sharper, or you can increase your wheelbase to add stability. And there's 9 different ways you can set up your board with these 3 positions in the base plate. So that's something that I think will dramatically weigh. You can change your board's characteristics for having more stability or for having a tighter turning radius with this design. So that's innovation 3. Innovation 4 is that if you look at this base plate compared to a regular base plate, it's much bigger. It has the biggest base plate in the skate industry, and the reason for that, and it also has these curves. There's a structural reason for that. The wider and more surface area you have on the footprint, the more shock absorbing it is. So it diffuses the impact. So it's impact diffusing by having this bigger footprint. The stresses on your board, it will actually protect your deck more than any other type of truck because you have this bigger footprint to reduce the impact stress. And you also have these curves, especially in this area where it's much less likely you'll snap your board because of the curve. Because when you try and snap something off, like at an edge of a table, if I want to snap something off, you hold it to the flat edge and you hit it, and it'll snap it. But with a not a flat edge like the corner or with a curve, it's much harder to break something. So that's helped. This base plate will actually reduce the impact stress on your board. So that's innovation 4. Innovation 5 is, this is really cool. Take out the GrindKing pocket tool, which, hold on, this is here. You'll see now, okay, see this, this is an innovation right here, this hole. I call it the nut portal. So what's really cool about the nut portal, especially with the inverted kingpin, is that once this nut drops off, you can put it back on without taking your trucks off your board. With other trucks, if you wanted to change that nut, and you would have to take it off your board. But the other cool thing about it is I use a regular nut. It isn't the sleeve nut, or some people call it a shaft nut, which is inserted, and you can't buy those in a hardware store. The trouble with the GrindKing's before, and other companies that have copied it, they use a special nut that is pressed into the base plate, and you can't. They're custom, so you have to get it from the truck company itself, or you just have to live with a kingpin that will get loose. This uses a standard nut, which you can buy in any hardware store, standard lock nut that fits in there. And the cool thing about it is that you can put it back in without taking your truck off. You just put your finger in there with the board upside down, and it fits in the slot, and it very easily goes back in. So that's innovation 5.
Innovation 6.
So innovation 6 is this. Check this out. This is great. Now you have what's really cool about the locker is it's customizable. You can change the wheelbase to increase or decrease it, or shift it one way or back. But then you can also do this. This is a dual durometer top bushing. But what makes this top bushing unique is, check this out. It comes apart. So this truck can be ridden 4 different positions. You can run it with both together like it came, like the original, or you can run it with just the one bushing alone, which, look how low the kingpin is with that. But the great thing about this bushing is hard. This is a hard durometer. This is a medium durometer. And the bottom is a medium durometer. So I call it the triple cush bushing system. It's
Tri-cush.
Tri-cush, yeah. Tri-cush. And the cool thing about it is that for people that like riding trucks really loose, the loose truck kind of trend, this is the best case scenario, because now you have a truck actually designed to be run regular style, or you can run it loose with this hard bushing, and it has more stability that way, and it has a super low kingpin. But you can also do it like this. You can take this one out and run it with a medium bushing, like that, same way. And we've tested it, and each way has a totally different feel. You'll have to find out. I think you get like 9 different ways to do it.
We still haven't tried every single way yet.
You can also do it even this way. It's still counterintuitive. You can put the hard one down first, and then the soft one on top, like this. It kind of looks funny, but it totally works, and it works good like that. A totally different feel, okay? So each way, and you can change it from front to back. Everyone's going to have their own preference. but this is the first truck that gives you all these customizable options that were never accomplished before. So that's innovation 6. Innovation 7, and one of my, probably the coolest one besides, well, every one of these is pretty cool, but this one I really love because it solves the problem I was talking about before, which is kingpin breakage. Now, for the first time, you have this new system. It's called a kingpin brace. So I have this steel sleeve, which the kingpin goes, normally the breaking point is down here on a kingpin where it exits. But now look where the shear point, you might say, is way up here. It's going to be very difficult for the kingpin to break up here because it's got this brace. Look how thick that is around. That's the strength of the kingpin, is this thickness right here. And the shear point is way up here, which is much harder, less leverage than at the bottom. You can imagine trying to break that versus trying to break it here. So you can see that would be a lot more, not only stronger, but more stable. There's less wobble because you have this shaft. It's supporting the kingpin almost the entire way. And then it allows at the bottom for just this regular nut. Like I say, when you put it in, this is how you do it. When it's on your board, you just stuff this nut in here and you start to tighten it. It has a pocket that it fits right in there. So you just put your finger in there and you can leave it on your board and just remove it or replace it. It's just super easy. So that's, and by the way, this truck is very light. It's much lighter than the disruptor. I've taken out weight just about everywhere you can imagine.
With holes.
Yeah, it's the holiest. So those are the 7 innovations. They all have their purpose. They all have never been done before in a truck, and I think that it's going to allow skaters to push their performance to the next level. So I'm really excited to hear what you guys think about the GK Locker, and get ready to grind into the future. Or wait, let me do that.
Go.
So get ready to grind into the future with the GK Locker.
All right, guys. Donald has one more thing for you before we leave. What are you going to say, Donald?
Get ready to grind into the future.
Oh, again? Oh, my God. Grind in the future.
No, actually, I wanted to mention that these are also laser etched. The new logo, you can see that little hex thing. I made it a hex now. I think it makes more sense. And the locker logo, those are actually, that's to the bare metal. So this is kind of a techie thing with the laser etching.
Yeah, so grind those trucks as much as you want, because that thing
will come off. And also, I want to say, this is another important thing. I have several patents pending on this truck, so don't get any ideas out there.
We'll come and get you.
Yeah, this time I'm coming to get any copycats, at least for a while.
Yeah,
you can wait, 30 years like the inverted kingpin like last time, and you can copy it.
Another thing, guys, I got these trucks set up on my board. We'll be letting you know when I hit a skate park in LA so that you can try them out and test them and tell us what you think. Stoner Park, Venice, all around the LA area. I'll be hitting that up.
There is one more thing. I keep remembering other stuff. This right here, you can kind of see.
Got another innovation?
Well, you could see on the axle, on the hanger, I put the size. And I've changed my sizing system to be the axle size. So it's simple. This is an 825. So you just got to go by the width of your board and you just look at this and it tells you exactly what. You don't need this like 5.0 system. That's, to me, it was always dumb.
It's so
just
simple.
go by with the axle length. So from now on, it's GrindKing is going to use axle length.
You heard it. Now you don't have to guess the size of your truck. You can just read it on the actual axle.
Yeah, and there'll be 4 sizes in this first run. There'll be 4 sizes, 3 colors plus silver, and there's also going to be an announcement where I'm going to offer this on Kick Flipper. And if you get it on Kick Flipper, this is important. If you get it during the period I offered on Kick Flipper, you're going to get it at a 30% discount, which will be the biggest discount you'll ever be able to get this truck. 30% off its price. And you will be the first to get it. So there's only going to be a limited amount that'll be offered on Kick Flipper. I'm not making that many for the first run. So my suggestion is, as soon as I announce the opening of Kick Flipper and the price and everything, you should jump on it because you're going to get it way cheaper and you'll be the first to have it.
And one more thing. What was it, Donald? What do we got to say? It's YouTube.
Oh, grind into the future.
Grind into the future. No, hit the like or subscribe.
Yeah, like the like.
All right, thanks, guys.
I had to say grind into the future one more time.
Grind into the future. Hit the like or subscribe. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Stay tuned. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Oh, and next week is the scariest episode, the Creeper Show.
Yeah, we might be abusing. I can't say that on YouTube. Okay. Abused out. Drunken debauchery.
Yeah.
It'll be an awesome episode. See you soon. Later, guys. Peace out.